Well, to other news now, homeowners in Matthews say they are fed up after 2 gas leaks in as many months. The first caused a fire explosion that destroyed 2 homes. Well, now people there are worried about their own safety. Our Michael Warwick is live in Matthews. And Michael, what happened in May still fresh on their minds there in that neighborhood there. It's just hard to forget that image.
Yeah, with as much construction as happening in this area, that incident in May was unnerving enough. But now, after a second gas line break, folks here are worried about another disaster. Standing aside one another, these 2 burned homes provide a reminder for their Matthews neighbors of all the ways a gas leak can go wrong.
It's not been forgotten about because the house is still there and people stop and look at it all the time.
Less than half a mile away, Patricia Willis and her husband Ken Ziller look at the ongoing construction at McKee and Pleasant Plains Road and question their safety.
I mean, if you think about how tragic this could have been, like down there.
Thursday, Piedmont Natural Gas says an unaffiliated third-party excavator struck a gas line just outside the pair's home. It's the second in the area in less than 2 months.
Sounded like a tornado, you know, big gush, and I said, I know exactly what that is because I knew they were over here digging.
I am very grateful that our houses are still standing. Thank you, God. I mean, it's like that was right there. And, you know, anything could have happened.
Given what happened in May, the construction happening around the expansion of McKee Road is providing little comfort to Willis and many of her neighbors, especially if this keeps happening.
I sincerely hope they get more conscientious about who they put to work on projects like this. But with all the memories I have, they can't be replaced.
Piedmont Natural Gas says its technicians are highly trained to respond to leaks and damages. Thursday's repairs were made without any issues. And you see how this has really shaken up some folks here. Piedmont Natural Gas says this underscores the importance of anyone calling 811. It's a free number that you should be calling before you dig anywhere. Utility companies and their contractors are the ones responsible for marking any underground lines. We're live in Matthews. Michael Warwick, WBTV, on your side.
Mike.